Hey everyone, Justin Marlowe here. I'm giving you my review of Shokugeki no Soma Fuwa, the third plate, or Shokugeki no Soma San no Sara. And this is actually the fall premiere of the third season. Before I get into the actual episode, I do want to point out the fact that before watching this episode, I had to watch the OVA, which I did yesterday actually, to get the introduction of the rest of the Elite 10, because they decided, the animation studio behind Food Wars decided to split this into two different ways. First is the OVA episode where he's introduced the tea ceremony, where he introduced the rest of the Elite 10, which I have been waiting for since catching up with the manga and the animation's introduction. For the coloring, for the animations, because of the coloring of the characters' colors, and some of the voice actors and actresses will be playing these characters. Speaking of the voice act, I'm going to talk about the OVA version. Speaking to the voice actors, started off Kuga-senpai since he was the first one to speak. The voice actor did a perfect job of Kuga-senpai because he comes out as a completely obnoxious character. That was just my phone. And that was my phone. I'll get to that later. The character came out obnoxious, but definitely discussed back at his obnoxiousness. That was perfect. But when he gets ticked, when some people pisses him off by a certain thing about his most likely his height, he gets so angry at the quick second. It was perfect. Then moving on to Kuni Senpai's voice actress. She came off as the calm demeanor one. Doesn't get exactly too good, doesn't explode too much in emotion like everyone else does. She's more calm, cool, and collected. Was perfect for her. But she does show a bit of angry side of her depending on the situation. So which we'll see much more later, possibly season 4 when we get to that point. We're also introduced to Momo Senpai's voice. Her voice in here speaks since she's basically not close to the youngest, but not only she's the shortest, also portrayed as the. Oh my god, these two. Sorry, that's just my dogs. She came off as this one with the voice doesn't mean let's use their typical. Well, I won't say lolly character, but only one of those cute short character, little girl characters, but with a bit of a mouth. She actually can swear. She actually might have to swear like a sailor at some points, which kind of contradicts the voice, but it means to be perfect because she came off that way in the manga. We already know Ida and Ishiki Senpai's voices, so there's no need to further introduction to them. But we didn't hear Megashima and Saito Senpai's voice, considered mostly the more quieter ones. But we'll see them mostly talk, much more later. Now move on to the big two, though. Of course, we have AC Senpai and Rindo Senpai. Rindo Senpai's voice actors came off as more cheerful than the other one else's. This kind of makes sense. Given her personality, she's more energetic and more upbeat than most everyone else in the Elite 10. So that gave them both a perfect voice. That was a perfect voice for her, given the personality she was given. Was what we've seen. And as for Ishii Senpai's voice, the voice actor did a major time going between two sides of things. One, the cool, calm demeanor on the outside, but the more of the scared cat worriness on the inside. Ishii has this not a slow personality, but he has two sides to himself, where he can compare. He appears more calm and confident, but with the slightest hiccup or at least the smallest infraction can make him worry. He confronted both Soma Aldini and Murasaki Barada. And Murasaki Barada, or Miyazaki Barada, my bad. On the fact that the whole thing was going to smooth safe for the autumn elections, but he was not playing for a Shokugeki between all these three students. So that kind of messed up his flow state he planned. He was not expecting it, so he kind of called him out in a way where it was he was too worried the fact that he was just doing this thing with his hands right here on the ground. He was pounding him because things didn't go his way. He kind of worried about that. And that was so perfect. Everyone who got their voices introduced here was perfect. I just gotta wait for Megashima and Saito Senpai's voices and much more later, and we're gonna deal with what they sound like. Because we don't hear them talk until much later. Which is most like a season 4. But now moving on from the OVA, which was the tea ceremony and introductions of the characters of the Elite 10. The actual episode, season 3, episode 1. I think it was titled The Elite 10. No, Clash of the Elite 10, I believe it was titled. Basically, we're getting introduction to a new arc of the series. We'll kick off the season. This is the Moon Festival, Suzuki's School Festival arc to close off the autumn season, where each student has to put up a set of booths and basically in a way in 3 different spots depending on how you choose. Booths for basically for visitors to come in, eat your food, and pay over a certain amount of money. And your goal is to reach 1,000 servings, but if your booth somehow loses money, you get expelled. So when you're getting a chance to someone to lead 10 to this kind of battle, he chooses Kuga-senpai, the 8th seed. And Kuga-senpai especially is Chinese cuisine, but more not towards Chinese cuisine, but more spiciness. He has more spice to it than more traditional Chinese cuisines. And someone decided to challenge Kuga-senpai to this battle. And no one effectively, and if you read the manga as much as I have, up to this point, you don't know how all things turn out. But seeing the fact that how for anyone only watchers, you got to be like, okay, this is gonna be a hefty deal. If he can manage to at least make Anna almost go down to her knees, and actually tied up a battle was Ishiki Satoshi, which was the 7th seed, you think he might have a chance against Kuga, but this is a completely different reason than Shokugeki. This is actually trying to one up the person in sales. Kuga has this huge reputation outside of the school, so he already has that going to him. So this guy here with no reputation and with no traditional idea on, not until much later in the episode, he says, I'm going to use Chinese cuisine. I'm going to challenge Kuga on his own turf. So that's going to be an interesting battle to see for those who are heavily watchers who didn't read the manga at least to the point to see how things all turn out. And now during this episode, as I say, this is a perfect introduction because we're going to straight right into the Moon Festival arc. But I do want to point out in the opening, though, and then release, the title sounds called Braver, but the band who did this was the same band who did the opening for Classroom of the Elite, the first opening of Classroom of the Elite Season 1. And during the montage of the openings, we get to see shots between Soma versus Kuga-senpai, which ultimately turned out to become tigers. That was kind of weird. I saw it in the manga. Behind them was like basically one of them came out as tigers. One showed off the scene between Soma versus Izan-senpai, which led to one of the most biggest Shokugekis that I personally have seen for a character. We're going to see that point some point during the Moon, mostly after the Moon Festival. I don't know how long it was. I don't know how long Season 3 is going to be like. Because on Season 2, it had like, it took the rest of the autumn. It took the finals of the autumn elections, the finals of the autumn elections, and the Stagnir arcs combined in one. So I was like basically 25 episodes each. 25 episodes. So I think we're going to get 25 episodes there as well. Maybe shorter, depending on how many episodes they order. The fact that it hints at that point, that's going to be good. But the reason that they're going to do that, we're going to say 25, because during the openings, we saw a shot of Aina's father, who eventually will make his appearance in the Moon Festival. Spoiler for those who read the manga, but he does make his appearance. We don't know exactly who her father was until that point. How big of a force he's going to be moving forward. At least how big he's going to be towards moving forward for the rest of the school. There's also a shot of the elder Nagi, Zaizamon. I think his name is Zaizamon. Bowing down and pleading someone to save, banging his head down to save as a promise. Now begging someone to do something, which we'll see mostly in the anime here. So that's basically hinting that this episode is going to go for 25 episodes, so we're going to combine 2 arcs into one. We have the Moon Festival, which is going to kick off the first season, which kicks off the 3rd season, and the introduction to this character, Izami-senpai. Izami Nagiri. And knowing how much of a force he played behind Anna's life, and how it's going to make a bigger force moving forward, we're going to see how that moves. Also, there's one other point in the opening that also hinted so much more to another Shokugeki, to a potential food battle between Soma and Aishi-senpai. The first scene. If you've read the manga, if you've been following the manga as me, you know how all that turned out, but the moment itself, though, in your hand was such an impact that it cannot just be overlooked. But that's all leading them to focusing this out. That's all like more future downlines for potentials It's more further down the line in the season. We just started the season for the fall. And it released on a Wednesday. I'm pretty sure this was on Tuesdays along with Black Clover. So basically 2 fall premieres on Tuesdays. But I mean, I had to watch this on Monday because the last place I was watching it was buffering up the gas. It was buffering up the ass. Excuse me. Got me a cup of coffee here. Now, overall for the episode, it was a pretty good introduction and didn't really care into it. Excuse me. Overall, this episode was pretty good for an introduction to season 3. We're going to the Moon Festival arc, which is going to be interesting to see how a school festival how a school festival is done through not a sports festival way, but a cooking school. There's not too much in terms of fan service except for the one shot of Hojo just doing a tight dunk from Panel to like this, and knowing how the manga, how the animators decided to make that fan service shot that was perfect. She's one of the few, actually, if not of all the female characters to get fan service so hard. I can only imagine moving forward, but I think we're gonna get to see less of that because by this point, things really gets more serious. But that was just the first episode. We don't know what's going on for the next 24, 23 episodes, depending on how many episodes the season ordered. But all I know is that the OVA did a perfect job introducing the Elite, even though the fact that it was in the OVA episode, not in that traditional first episode. Because I'm thinking about the season 3 episode premiere, I was thinking the introduction to Elite 10 as the first episode, and then we're going to move forward with the Moon Festival. But no, apparently they get their own fucking truck. Apparently they get their own OVA episode on introduction, which seems was kind of dumb, but it worked. Get the voice actors and actresses replacing these characters. So we still get to see Saito Senpai and Mikishima Senpai's voice actors. We're never going to see them much more later. And basically, everybody else was perfect to a point. Every other character's voices were on point. It fit the personalities. It fit their what they were trying to go for. It was perfect. And I'm sorry, my screen kind of went black there for a second. That's why I kind of hesitated. I had to move my hand there a bit. Or another thing towards the opening, I want to point out that there was these 3 battles that we're going to see between some 3 characters. We're also going to see them much more later after the Moon Festival. But if you read the manga as much as I have, or since we're starting reading the manga, cut out the manga with my live reactions, you know who these characters are, and exactly who the characters were facing. But that was episode 1. It was a good start. We're going to start off with the Moon Festival, and just cannot wait to see a whole lot more Moon down for it. I will say this, though. I feel the fact that the fan service here is going to be cut down a bit because we're going to get to the links more serious this time around. So, until next week, or at least until the next episode, which is going to be next week on Tuesdays, leave a like, subscribe, comment below, be sure to a friend, and I'll see you all next time. Laters!